I am trying to get into the vibe this Wednesday. Jeez.
It's Wednesdays.
Hello. And welcome to yet another episode of Wednesdays with Woody, where we interrupt your... Okay, we are not going to do Vanilla Thriller. That did not work out. Maybe we're having a bland and canned Wednesday. No matter, whatever your flavor is this Wednesday, I am here to bring you another version of this hot mess of a show. Let's go. My phone is buzzing and I really feel like I'm all over the place because this week your boy is exhausted. I am tired, I'm finished, I'm kaput. I don't even know where this sense of exhaustion came from, but it's here and we are trying to make our way through the days of our lives and get on with it, because life is not slowing down for anybody, and you need to take rest where you need to take rest. You need to focus on your mental state, you need to focus on your body's well-being. You need to do a whole lot of stuff, and sometimes your body's going to say to you, you know what, I am not joining you on this roller coaster, and you need to sort yourself out. So I am definitely sensing that my body's telling me I need to sort myself out, but I also need to keep going, because the train is just not going to slow down. What I need to be doing is taking better care of myself and sleeping. But anyway, I'm getting distracted once again. Let's get into today's topic. Now, as I said in last week's episode, I've been focusing, or I think I've just been saying this a lot, I've been focusing a lot on the G in the LGBTQIA plus acronym. And I'm really not giving enough airtime to the other letters, the other experiences that people of this community go through. And that is primarily what I really wanted to do with this podcast. Since its very inception. So today we're going to focus on the T. And for those who don't know, the T stands for trans. And specifically, with today's episode, I want to focus on International Transgender Day of Visibility, which takes place on the 31st of March. I think that's a really nice way to end off this month. We're going to be celebrating trans brilliance while breaking down why visibility in 2025 still isn't. It just is not enough. So I think we're going to begin with a little bit of history. Never hurt anybody. International Trans Day of Visibility was founded in 2009 by Michigan-based activist Rachel Crandell Crocker, and I hope I didn't mess up her surname. I am terrible with surnames. At the time, there was no holiday that specifically honored the living memories of the trans community. Only the Trans Day of Remembrance, which focused on the lives lost to violence. In coming up with this day, Rachel really asked herself some vital questions. What about those still here, still fighting, still shining? And from that came this day of affirmation and radical recognition. Now, visibility can be a double-edged sword. Being seen is beautiful. We all want to be seen, we all want to be recognized and validated for our existence and our experiences in this world, but it often comes with a target on your back, and trans folks, especially black and brown trans women, face some of the highest rates of violence, poverty, and healthcare discrimination in the world. So obviously, the 31st of March, International Trans Day of Visibility, isn't just about taking selfies and hashtags. It's really about action. And to anyone who is not living under a rock, which I know most of us would just love to. We just love to go into hiding. We know that around the world, anti-trans legislation, healthcare bans, and hate-fueled rhetoric are trying to erase trans existence altogether. And yet, trans people are still here, still creating, still leading, still loving, still existing, and hopefully still thriving. We really can't celebrate trans visibility without honoring where it started. If we go back to the 80s and the 90s, to the ballroom culture, to the underground houses, to the chosen families that built safety in the face of systemic violence, Paris is Burning captured a slice of that world where trans women of color were not only surviving but redefining beauty, gender, and power. And then Pose came along decades later and turned that legacy into art, education, and validation. From what I've observed and read about and learned about, or whatever the case might be, what I've seen of the 80s and 90s, this era was really about the queens, the mothers, the voguers, the femmes. They weren't waiting for permission to exist. They were demanding space. They created their own economies, their own hierarchies, and their own worlds. And their pain, it was real. They were facing the AIDS crisis, homelessness, police brutality, and they fought all of that, I hope, in stilettos, wit, and unwavering grace. Now, at the time, there were a lot of people who would later on become legends. People like Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, who made visibility possible before it was even a word on our radar. The struggle back then, it wasn't about likes or media coverage, it was about survival. And the fact that we're here today, even having this conversation, that's because they paved the way. I think that if we're going to have a conversation about visibility, we also need to talk about who gets left out. The media over the last couple of years has spent a lot of time vilifying trans women, eroding their dignity and undermining their lived experience. And on the other side of that, trans men are hardly ever spoken about. I think that too often in our society, we don't even recognize that trans men exist, let alone honoring their experiences. Trans men face unique struggles in healthcare, especially around reproductive rights, mental health, and access to affirming care. And just like trans women, they deal with violence, marginalization, and often without the platform or media attention. Visibility for trans men isn't just overdue. I really think that it's absolutely essential. But once again, I always have to worry about the lens through which I live in the world. As a gay man, and majority of what I see on my social media is a lot of other gay men. I seldom do encounter trans men. They're there, and I have encountered quite a few prominent ones. But I just don't think enough is being done for them. And obviously, I don't want to say it's a catch-22 situation, but trans people form such a small part of the world. And within the LGBTQIA plus community, they are a grouping or a community within themselves, but I don't think they, could potentially rival the numbers of bisexual people. So we need to do a lot more for them in order for them to be seen and live their absolute fullest lives as any other human being is well deserving of that experience. I mean, with everything that's going on in the world currently, specifically around trans people and their rights, it's kind of hard to think about how do we celebrate this specific day in a meaningful way. And I think that first and foremost, we listen. We listen to trans voices, to stories and needs. Second, I think, is that we act. That means advocating for inclusive policies, donating to trans-led organizations, and shutting down anti-trans rhetoric. Whether it's in politics or in your group chat, wherever it is where there is so much hate for a people who are just trying to exist in the world. Third, I think, is that we honor. We honor the names, we honor pronouns, we honor transitions, we honor identities, and the full range of what it means to live authentically. I know that there is a belief for a propaganda campaign around trans people that they are, trying to change. Well, actually, it's was probably just the whole LGBTQIA plus community, that we are trying to change your children and get them to, I don't know, come over to the dark side. It's kind of crazy to think about. I get that. I get how, as a parent, you really do want to protect your child from the craziness of the world, and it is damn well crazy. But having been part of the LGBTQIA plus community for the last 10 years, having been out at least for the last 10 years, I think that the one thing I've come to realize is the importance of living authentically, and how much more damage is done to a human being when you are hiding and unable to be yourself. I am not saying run and take your children to get, I don't know, reconstructive surgery or go on pills or anything like that, but I am advocating for listening, educating yourself, understanding your child's needs, specifically if they do identify as trans, if they identify as gay, bi, lesbian, anything other than what you are accustomed to and what you find familiarity in. Obviously, what I'm saying is just, I'm making it seem like it's a black and white story. People have religious beliefs that they are tied to, that they want to practice, that they want to share and pass down to their children. I mean, the conversation is very nuanced, but denying someone their right to live as they wish in this world, damn, I think, I don't know, that scares me more than anything. And I want to say this out loud to people in the back. Visibility without safety is not liberation. Visibility should lead to protection, to healthcare, to housing, to jobs, and to joy. So on this year's International Trans Day of Visibility, if you have a trans friend, tell them you love them. If you don't have one, share a resource. Post a story. And don't stop there. Carry that energy all year round. Because trans liberation is queer liberation. And trans joy is the joy of every queer person. Hell, it's the joy of every single human being on this planet. Woo! And that brings us to the end of this week's episode of Wednesdays with Woody. I really hope you have learned something. I hope there's something you've taken away from this. I hope that you, I don't know, got whatever you needed to get out of this. As this week progresses, I am wishing you all love, light, happiness, joy, rest. Rest, because I need rest. And just peace. You know, the world is one hell of a place, one hell of an adventure, but it can often be quite scary. And I hope that you find moments of peace in your life, with your family, with your lover, with your children, whatever the case might be, in your community, whatever. I hope that you find whatever peace that you need in this world to fill up your cup and keep going. So until we meet next week, ciao.